This is dedicated to Fitzwater and all those other wonderful people who declared me crazy. Now, the interesting thing, they declared 20 million Americans crazy, too. One of the reasons we got to keep doing this is the medical bills are probably going to go up with that many crazy people in this country.
There he was, back in the media spotlight, discussing his rationale for starting a nationwide organization called United We Stand. America had not seen a politician quite like Ross Perot, the Texas billionaire who in early 1992 led most presidential preference polls. His down-home style and folksy aphorisms led to his becoming the pop culture icon of 1992. How did it happen? Was he acting as an instrument of change for the American electorate, or was he a media creation with nothing to offer but talk with a populist flavor? This program will examine Perot and his cultural appeal from three perspectives. An October press conference shows Perot in his worst media forum as he becomes testy with reporters. The presidential debates put Perot on the map in terms of adding legitimacy to his campaign, but was his message substantive? Third, his television infomercials, featuring nothing more than posters and straight talk to the camera, were a rating sensation. Finally, what does his rise to prominence say about American pop culture and how voters perceive candidates in an electronic age?
Good afternoon. The volunteers in all 50 states have asked me to run as a candidate for President of the United States. Jim Stockdale, our vice presidential candidate, and I are honored to accept their request.
Ross Perot threw his hat into the presidential ring 34 days before the election. He had not intended to answer questions from reporters. Returning to the podium, he displayed a thin skin for any critical queries.
The American public went through a traumatic experience when Richard Nixon was president many years ago. How much of a right do the American people have to know about your character? Is it fair for someone who might vote for you to wonder about your character and ask questions? And how much should we be allowed to investigate your past?
Of course. Now let me ask you a question. Is it unfair for me to wonder why you don't write a balanced presentation? Let's assume you find, well, here's the good, the bad, the beautiful, the different. Are you trying to present a balanced picture of a candidate? Leave me out of it. Or are you just trying to play gotcha journalism? I rest my case. I'll take any balanced piece that comes out. Nobody, I don't claim to be perfect. Nobody, look, I don't care what you do. Just have fun, get raises and bonuses, play gotcha. I don't care. But the point is, I want you to know that what I'm about is what I just said, and I care about this country, and I care about the American people, and I love them, and I will do whatever I can to serve them, and they've asked me to do this, and I will do it for them.
One area where he could be seen as a mainstream candidate by the mass media was in the presidential debates. Perot gained a stature here he could not have had otherwise. The appearance of straight talk led him to be the clear winner of the first debate.
I think it's fitting that we're on the campus of a university tonight. These young people, when they get out of this wonderful university, will have difficulty finding a job. We've got to clean this mess up, leave this country in good shape, and pass on the American dream to them. We've got to collect the taxes to do it. If there's a fairer way, I'm all ears. But, see, let me make it very clear. If people don't have the stomach to fix these problems, I think it's a good time to face it in November. If they do, then they will have heard the harsh reality of what we have to do. I'm not playing Lawrence Welk music tonight. I'd never ask you to do anything for me, but I owe you this, and I'm doing it for you. And I can't tell you what it means to me at these rallies when I see you, and you come up, and the look in your eyes, and I know how you feel, and you know how I feel. And then I think of the older people who are retired. They grew up in the Depression. They fought and won World War II. We owe you a debt we can never repay you, and the greatest repayment I can ever give is to recreate the American dream for your children and grandchildren. I'll give it everything I have if you want me to do it.
Most political pundits felt his next two debate performances were repeats of ideas he had earlier discussed. His apparent unease at the talk show-style debate may have been caused by the fact that when he sat down, his feet did not reach the floor.
But I just find it fascinating that while we sit here tonight, we will go into debt an additional $50 million in an hour and a half. Now, it's not the Republicans' fault, of course, and it's not the Democrats' fault, and what I'm looking for is who did it. Now, they're the two folks involved, so maybe if you put them together, they did it. Now, the facts are we have to fix it. We are leaving. I'm here tonight for these young people up here in the balcony from this college. When I was a young man, when I got out of the Navy, I had multiple job offers. Young people with high grades can't get a job. People, the 18 to 24-year-old high school graduates 10 years ago were making more than they are now. In other words, we were down to 18% of them were making, of the 18 to 24-year-olds were making less than $12,000. Now that's up to 40%. And what's happened in the meantime? The dollar's gone through the floor. Now whose fault is that? Not the Democrats, not the Republicans. Somewhere out there there's an extraterrestrial that's doing this to us, I guess.
Buying network television time in large blocks, Perot discussed America's economic problems in 30-minute commercials. Segments from two of these infomercials show a remarkable ease on camera as Perot exudes believability while describing information on countless visual aids.
Tax decreases. It's not all bad news. We will have a $27 billion decrease in taxes to get an investment tax credit, and that money will be spent to build new factories, buy plant and equipment, and create jobs. That money's spent right on the bullseye. Doesn't go in somebody's pocket to buy a yacht. Right over here, we're going to have a decrease here, and it's a tax credit to stimulate research and development. We call it now research and experimentation. You and I used to call it R&D. But this is to target the industries of the future and make sure that we lead and dominate in those industries. We're going to spend $10 billion in tax credits on worker training to train our people for the jobs of tomorrow. Now then, we've got to get money from institutions, from individuals, from every place there is money, invested in the treasuries of companies. Now hold that thought. Not shooting dice on Wall Street, invested in the treasuries of companies. We've got some tough challenges ahead of us. Fixing these problems won't be easy. We have to start now. Every day is precious. Waiting will make it worse. Pick the president that you believe has the ability to get the job done for you and your children. Pick a strong leader. Most importantly, choose the person who will do it, not just talk about it. Pick the person you respect and trust. He cannot do it for you. You must stick with him as a united team. Then and only then can we get the job done. Together we can pass on the American dream to our children. Can you think of anything more important than your children? Look at them tonight before you go to bed. Your hopes and dreams are all wrapped up in them. They are our future. Let's just link arms and go do it for them. It'll be tough, but it will be fun. Thank you and good night.
Two important questions need to be addressed. One, was Perot an invention of the media? Two, how will he be seen in the rearview mirror of pop culture? Voter dissatisfaction with President Bush and Governor Clinton helped to make Perot a household name. In fact, Perot's ideas were not invented for political gain, as seen in this 1970 interview with Ted Koppel on ABC's Issues and Answers.
You and John both have made passing reference to your organization, United We Stand. Where did you get the idea for it?
Well, the idea came up about 2 years before I had the resources. And it's been an idea that's been, I used to refer to it as the electronic town hall. And I had it all worked out on paper, but I didn't have the money to do it. At that point, never dreamed that I would have the money, but because of my understanding of advanced technologies, I knew it could be done. And I felt it really would bring people back into the center of things.
How do you stand as a former military officer on the idea of dissent as it's developed in this country over the past few years?
Anybody that knows what he wants and is working hard to get it within our system, then I'm 100% for. I don't necessarily have to agree with them. They don't have to agree with me. I'm frequently asked, you know, what I think of young people with long hair. I have to be very careful there because I have an extreme haircut too, and you know, it's a matter of personal taste. And so, on this issue, I respect the fact that they are involved. I would like to, in some way, be a part of giving them an effective enough voice so that they don't have to go out in the streets.
Where does Ross Perot belong in American pop culture? Is he a passing fad? Chances are his billions of dollars and the United We Stand campaign will keep him in our minds, but that is no guarantee he can muster the support he achieved in 1992. The answer to the question, populist prophet or media-created megalomaniac, is this: Perot has elements of both. His message and media strategies will no doubt find their way into American consciousness again during the Clinton administration.